Breaking news, and it is dire.
Let me say this. Our thoughts are with those who lost their loved ones.
A collapse in domestic demand has worsened the outlook for economic growth.
And recent surges in new infections have pushed governments to tighten restrictions again.
Hundreds of thousands of people have been unemployed because of the lockdown.
They're fighting a war here and they're losing.
The vaccine is not going to be the end of the pandemic. The end of the pandemic is going to be when we as people are learning to live with the pandemic, and that can be even tomorrow.
My name is Lenora Biche. I was born and raised in Cameroon. Right now, I am in Italy and I create fashion.
I'm Orlando Gamboa. I'm from Illinois. I kind of operate in the Chicago scene, and my creative expression is music production, audio engineer, and recording.
Hi, my name is Boris Akeem Aka. I'm from Ivory Coast, West Africa. My passion is drawing, especially.
My name is Yannik Encarnação. I'm from New York City, New York, and I am an actor.
I am
a creative.
Creative.
Artist.
Creators.
An artist.
Creating.
Artist.
And creative.
So from a very young age, I remember my mom telling me I would watch the television and say, oh my God, that's such a beautiful woman. She looks so gorgeous. Look at that man's shoes. He's just stunning. And it that love just kept growing and growing and growing. And I told myself, when I grow up, I'm going to do something in fashion.
So I got into the music scene, I would say kind of at a young age. I feel like a lot of young people have identity crisis. That's a huge thing growing up. You don't necessarily know who you are or what your purpose is on this earth type thing. I clicked on this music video. It was Corn Blind, the song. And they were mosh pitting and shit. And I was young. I kind of had anger issues when I was younger. I still do a little bit, but when I saw the video, it was a metal video and they're fucking going crazy, mosh pitting and stuff. And I got goosebumps all over my arms. I was what the fuck? I was I want to do that shit one day. I was that looks so much fun.
The person that actually got me into drawing was my grandma when I was 4. And I would be a little monkey when I was a kid. I was always touching decoration and doing that. So I'm if you leave me somewhere, I'm gonna be putting my hand somewhere and stuff like that. So she caught me once and she was tired about me we're doing this and stuff. And she sat me on the little table in the living room and she gave me some papers and pencils. And she started doing this, showing me that's how it works. I just sat there for an hour, a good hour. That was that one thing that was taking me away. I was focused on that and started drawing all the time until it grew into this passion.
I got into acting. It's always something that I've always done. When I was finding out what extracurriculars I liked as a kid, it was always acting and soccer, and that's always how I grew up. So it's just always something I've done. It's always something I found joy in, and especially growing up, kind of being a very insecure kid. And I'm not that I'm not insecure now, but being an insecure individual growing up, it was really nice to kind of escape into acting.
The thing that has really fascinated me is style. It says a lot about a person's about who they are, the kind of things that they like, where they're from. You could look at what someone is wearing and what someone looks like, and you say a lot. The reason why I started my clothing line, my project Biche, was out of a need. When I moved to Italy, I noticed whenever I wear my traditional African print, a lot of people will look at me and they will throw all these beautiful compliments. Oh my God, that is so beautiful. Where did you get that? And I'll tell them I got it from home, and they'll say, where is home? I say, home is Cameroon. And then they ask me, where can I get something like this? And then you have this other group of people who are Africans living abroad, and they always say, I never find any African clothing abroad. Like, it's so difficult. I have to tell someone to send it all the way from home. And during that period, I said to myself, well, I have family back home. I'm certain there are a lot of tailors around Italy who are looking for jobs, who need opportunities to create these things. And those are people who are blessed with so much talent. So why don't I tap into these different resources? That's how Biche started growing out. Where certain things, my friends would be like, that is so beautiful, where did you get it? And now, instead of the answer being, I got it from home, the answer will be, I got it here in Italy. I make this stuff. So if you're interested, just hit me up and I'm going to provide it for you.
So then I started getting into music production, using the softwares for that. And then since I was already recording the guitar, I kind of had some engineering experience in terms of recording. So I just kind of kept at it. And I just do it out of love, that's for sure. I remember when I first started, and this was such a vivid thought in my mind, I thought to myself, this isn't going to be some overnight success. I don't see myself just being some viral, one-hit wonder. It's I watch a lot of anime and shit, and it's kind of stereotype. The old people are raw as fuck. And that's just kind of how I envisioned it. I was if it comes down to it, I'm going to be super old one day and I'm just going to be the master of this shit. So I knew that this was going to be a lifelong journey, and it was something that I was going to, as long as I'm healthy and able to do it, something that I was going to have for the rest of my life.
Can I support it in America?
My relationship with drawing is very special, since I suffer a lot from insomnia as well, which is a big deal into the person I am. I have a lot of times where I end up being awake very late at night. But drawing was a way for me to just get into a world where I wasn't stressed. So I would draw, but understanding that your art also has this responsibility over the crowd and the people like you is very important. That's why this last year, I'm really trying to focus more on my artistic heritage, my side of as being African man and a black person. You see what I mean? All these things become very important to me, and made me understand how I'm a huge part into what I can create into someone else.
I'm passionate about it because I just think it's one of the purest forms of studying the human condition. I think it's just so interesting to read, these characters that playwrights or screenwriters come up with and see, and they're completely made up. They don't exist. Their situations don't exist, and yet there's so much you can learn about them and yourself just through reading about them and embodying them. And yeah, I just think it's such an interesting endeavor every single time. It never fails to interest me.
And carp allowed it, which really makes me burn. They were so helpful, they called me hopeless, until I really didn't know where else to turn. And Carp kept saying, you'll never be an actor, never. Jesus Christ.
Right before COVID, I remember I had all these beautiful ideas, but most of them involved a lot of photography. I had this project in mind. When I wanted to find out what inspired people's daily clothing. When you wake up in the morning, what do you think about when you're planning that outfit for the day? What makes you wear exactly what you're wearing? When you think about style, what is that thing that motivates you? Another project I had in mind was just photo shoots for a new line that I had been working on. I had designed a new set of clothing, and I was looking to be okay, let's get out, let's do this photo shoot, have fun with it. And yeah, COVID hit and we just had to stay indoors. okay, I guess we're sitting in.
Before COVID, I felt like things could not get any better. Like, it was so awesome. Me and my friends finally started getting booked for shows. We were performing and shit. We had done a show, and like, it was the shittiest weather ever. And we still managed to get a really good turnout. And I was so fucking happy with the way everything came out. And then the second show, marketing that, it was crazy. I felt like everyone and their mom was gonna come to that shit. And there's just a lot of good momentum, it felt like. But yeah, then COVID hit and then fucked all that shit up.
It was pretty hectic, actually, because I started the year having two major events that I needed to take care of. The first one was the fact that I had my thesis to do, and out of not really nowhere, but like shortly, I had the call for an exhibition. So that wasn't my plan. Like, I didn't plan it like this, close to, after my my thesis. Out of nowhere, my dad also did these things of like surprise. They gave me like booked me a flight for Sao Tome, this Portuguese island in the west of Africa, and ended up like finishing my master's. Had like only the evening to like try to appreciate things, do my luggages, and then I was out. Like, I just had the flight the same day I got to my master's, and I get there and I was supposed to go for 2 weeks, and then COVID happened, and I stayed there for 5 months.
Pre-COVID times, we were, February, March, so I had just gotten done with auditioning for pilot season. I was preparing myself for the second kind of wave of auditions. I remember, I still, it's on my desk, I can see it right now. I still have like a stack of sides that I was memorizing just for like several different projects. And yeah, everything started getting postponed and then eventually canceled and eventually pushed. But yeah, I was very much in full stress mode about everything, and that just kind of came to a halt.
During the period of lockdown, during the period of COVID, I personally saw it as an opportunity. I used that time to rest, and resting in turn helped me think. It boosted my creative energy. It made me finalize and like actually sit down and write down all those plans that I had, put them strategically. What do I want this specific project to look like? And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to write this down and just have it there. So whenever I get the chance to actually do all these things, I know exactly what I'm trying to do. It needs planning, it needs time to actually materialize. And for me, the planning season is always the most stressful. If the planning doesn't go right, the execution is almost always a fail in a sense. But during the COVID period, I got time to plan so much and just sit down and write it and be sure that, okay, whenever I get the chance, this is going to be a well-written, a well-executed plan. And I'm really grateful for that period. It really helped me think. During COVID, I came up with so many more projects.
Ironically, I say ironically because I'm like complaining, that COVID messed up all this momentum and stuff like that. But creatively, like, it was like quarantine, the initial stages of it when it was real serious. It was like creative heaven for me. It was awesome. Like, I was so busy with school and like just trying to get like booked and stuff like that, like the business side of it with the whole shows. Like, we were focusing all our energy on that. And then like this happened, right? And it was kind of like a breath of fresh air because I was really hungry. I was like dying to make something. I wanted to create stuff so bad, but I didn't really have time. I was like, I had a bunch of shit to take care of, and I already had a bunch of stuff on my computer already. But no, then the COVID hit and there was literally like nothing to do. And the only shit I ever wanted to do was like create stuff, like make beats, or like record songs. And I thought like, yeah, let me just like go ahead and do that. And I did. And, like, I live in a small apartment with a bunch of other people, so I can't really record in there. I recorded like 3 whole projects. Recorded and produced like 3 whole projects in the car. It was much needed time, and it was really awesome initially. Now, you know, it's obviously like COVID's dragged ass. Like nobody likes this. And now it's like, I'm still hungry to create, but the lack of things being open and like the lack of normalcy within society, that also affects creative process, in my opinion.
Okay, I might stay here, but whenever I would get back, I don't want to go back with all the tools and stuff that I brought. Like, this is a way for me like to get out of this situation with more. I came with something that might not have been too much, but I want to make sure I can handle it. I want to prove myself like, even if I'm stuck in this position, I can still be creative, still get shit done. I went through like stages where I was expressing a lot of like, you know, what was going on in my private life and stuff like that, and the feeling of missing and stuff. So a lot of my works like fall into that for like a moment, but it wasn't negative. I wanted to make a piece that was giving hope to people during this time, because I really felt like, you know, that time where Italians like went to the balcony singing and all that things, you know, it was very like emotional, and I felt like I do want to make a piece, because I never talked about the virus in like my works or the situation. I never like open too much the discussion about it. I talked about facts, but I didn't talk about the situation. So I was like, I need to do one piece about this moment, because I'm living this and I want to do something that I remember. At the time, a friend of mine was doing this campaign to raise money for the hospitals in Bergamo, and I felt like I could totally sell my, you know, design on, you know, clothes, and have it like, you know, half of the profit go to this thing. And I was like, yo, this actual work can go further than just being a picture. Like, we can actually do something. This work has value. It gave me also more awareness over the fact that I could make more art like this that can, you know, benefit a lot more people.
So COVID affected my creative way of thinking and process in a lot of different ways. At first, I was so stressed about all the auditions that I had that there was a part of me that had a lot of relief. I was like, oh, I can breathe. I can be away from the grind. Like, I have to be. I don't have a choice. And then as soon as May hit, and then we figured, oh, okay, this is going to go on a little longer. Broadway got shut down until June at that point. So, you know, it was going to be a little longer. I did start to question whether or not this path was viable. And eventually I came to the decision that I can still be a creative in quarantine. I can still be a creative without making money, without going to rehearsal, without going to auditions. And that was something that I could do. Not only like was it possible, but it was actually very, very a unique situation that was very appealing. I had all this opportunity, so anything I wanted to do, I could do. There was nothing stopping me. Obviously, you know, can't make money off of it right now, and you also, you know, can't bring it in front of audiences, which is debilitating in a way. But in terms of feeding myself, that became the focus, was how do I feed myself creatively rather than create per se. I started a podcast over the break. It's a sports podcast, and it was because I usually have so many people. I have like my buddies that I always talk to, and I miss that. I miss being with people like at a bar and talking about sports. I wouldn't have done that. It would have been really hard to do that. I had never gone into quarantine because I don't have time for that, and I doubt I'll have time for it once everything goes up. But like, I also now I get to focus on it so much that maybe it does become something that I'm not expecting, you know, and I hope that it does, because it's a lot of fun.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. 2 beers, please. If you're hearing my voice, then you know this is Yannik.
As a creator, the biggest challenge during this pandemic period has been not being able to bring certain projects to materialization. I create clothing. I work with a lot of tailors. I work with other creators to do things. And more than anything, I do enjoy being around other creators. I do enjoy being able to see people and work with them face to face. I enjoy going to the market to buy the stuff that I need. And one of the biggest obstacles during this period was I didn't get that chance to source whatever I wanted and hold the fabric. You could order it online, but it's never the same for me. I enjoy that experience of holding something and being like, okay, this feels this way. This, I could use it for this. I want to see movement in everything that I do. As a creator, I'm trying to tell a story. And what matters to me more is that story that I'm putting out there. Being able to do that online was quite beautiful for me. It was something that drew many people closer to the brand and the message behind it rather than just constantly selling stuff. And that to me was very, very important.
For me personally, I don't just get inspired by like music just by itself. Like I get inspired by like anime, movies, whatever. Dude, going outside and doing shit will inspire vibes. It'll inspire sounds and like chord progressions for the beat. Like, you know, I go out and like go to some super cool place with like some friends, or I go swimming with my little brother. Like something like that could inspire a whole song, like a whole beat. And now that's missing. There's like that, we don't have that anymore. Like now it's just like my life is very routine. It's like work, I get off work, and then, you know, if I have time, I'll make something.
The most challenging thing, I'm not sure it was probably to be okay that the fact that I don't have my pen, but it might be that. It might be that. It's very weird because like the relation I have with this pen is like it's hard. Like you know, when you're young, you draw a lot with pencil, right? Like because you can erase and something, but going from pencil to pen, that's a huge step. Because like when you do with pen, there's no time to fuck up. So like it's kind of like a big step. So I feel like that big step that I once like achieved, I don't have it anymore. So how can I work without the thing that I always, you know, how to be effective while being uncomfortable? Like it's okay, whatever you're gonna go through, you're gonna go through anyways. Like I'm not scared to be like you know, in panic or anything like that, because everything that happens to you at the end of the day, it's something that you're gonna, you know, grow out of it. So the problem wasn't like, are you gonna be stuck and draw a lot? Because basically that happened, and I'm like, I'm okay with that. Like it's okay. Like everything that I went through, it's okay. It's okay. Like you're gonna be fine. Just bring a pen.
The pandemic has taught me so much. I always thought I'm halfway between an extrovert and an introvert. I'm like both. I love being around people, but I hate being around people. And now that I truly know what it's like to be alone, I am not an introvert at all. I'm very much an extrovert. I feel very debilitated by not being around people. And, you know, being quarantined in this pandemic has taught me, if nothing, if anything else, I think the most important thing it's taught me is that every day that you live is kind of a balance between your two extremes that you have within yourself. It's okay to do that. It's okay to not be productive. It's okay to be mega productive. It's just neither is right. And I think everyone has that. There's people that I know that they're either super happy or they're super sad. And I think for the longest time, they don't have the time to think about like, which is, you know, oh, I hate being sad. And that's what they think because they don't have time to think anything else. But in reality, being sad is really beautiful because you are acknowledging things within yourself, things within the world that are terrible. And like being able to feel that is like a part of the human condition, and you should be able to feel that. As an actor, I'm constantly trying to feel that because it's so hard to connect with a character who's sad when you have stopped yourself from feeling sad. And of course, it's not great. It's not great to feel, and I don't want people to be sad, but I think every part of you is there for a reason, and it's not a reason that you have to figure out. You just have to figure out how to work with them and how to not be ashamed of them, regardless of what they are.
COVID taught me how to slow down, and I'll tell my pre-COVID self, just slow down, take it easy. Life is not worth rushing about. Everything will happen at its own time, and take it step by step, one thing after the other.
I could talk to myself before COVID. I would tell that motherfucker, I'd be like, yo, you gotta fucking go outside every single day and do as much shit as possible. Cause I was at home like a lot, like I didn't necessarily like going out like that. But now it's like, damn, I miss going out. Like I want to go out every day now. Like I would tell myself, don't take the little things for granted. People never know what they have until they don't have it.
Bring more of these. I think I will tell young Boris, the one before COVID, like bring more of your pens.
You don't stop being a creative, you know, because you're not going somewhere or you're not doing something. You're always a creative. That's like a life that you choose to have. And I think you should choose to have it every day. And whether that means creating content, if you want to, that's great. Whether it means absorbing content, that's also so important. You are alive, which means you are still a creative, and you can still be a human no matter where you are. And this will all create a new environment for us, and it will be different and it will be challenging in its own ways, but there will always be a way for you to be an artist.
After the L's, I'm not forgetting. Steadily checking, so by the bell, go get the reverend. Crazy mind, gotta end it. One of my brothers, they whistle from heaven. Heaven sent, it just said they demanded. Let him win the band, oh, he commanded. I got an army, and Skeezer's abandoned. You cannot hurt me and take me for granted. Nothing funny when it comes to the ratchet. When it comes to the ratchet, cut them from me and drip from the hatchet. Looking shot, but my name is not static. You know my level, don't got a passion. High like Neville, flying in action. Never pull the phone for my phone, steady capping. You don't know when it comes to the captain. Jazzed up, he was steady snapping. Now you gone, but I thought it was capping. Asking myself, what the hell happened?